So we are recording. This is the Rock Ridge preview for 2025 with Michael Jackson and the Move Up crew. This is the course. We were just talking about the weather. The weather changes hourly, in my opinion. Looked at it this morning. There was just rain on Thursday. Now it looks like mine's showing rain. Can you guys see my screen?
You still have the Excel up.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're right.
Let me share my screen itself. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Perfect. Um, so I'm seeing at least minor rain every day until next Monday, except Wednesday. So um, this looks really good. Rain Friday into Saturday. That would clean up really well. Um, that was basically Unbound this year. Was hard rain the 2 days before. Um, and then it turned out to be super fast. This area dries up really quick. Uh, to get into the course. Oh, and then the wind. The wind changes consistently. It was very different this morning, but it looks like it's going to be a south wind and not very strong. I have 10 miles an hour at 1 p.m., which is glorious after everybody doing last weekend, for the people who did it. Do you guys have any notes on the weather, wind right now?
I'm trying to I didn't get a good look. Oh, there it is. I think that similarly to this past weekend, I didn't necessarily catch it with Rock Ridge, but or with Solstice, I mean, but with the wind kind of the way that it was, like I think kind of hindsight being 2020, like it became like pretty apparent during the race that I was gonna break up in the crosswinds, and so I feel like depending on how strong, well, I guess if the wind is mild, it won't be a big deal, but I feel like that you know a headwind start, tailwind finish, like the potential for it to break up, and maybe that like mid section crosswind, depending on how strong it would be, looks enticing.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing the wind is coming from the south and north as that last map was showing. But it's heading out of Alma. There's a bunch of climbing. This road all through here is very hilly and tight. It's a road you take on Unbound. I've ridden a handful of times. It's what you take into the aid and then you go out of the aid this way. I believe. Actually, no, you take this road continuously. I'm wrong. Just disregard. Um, but big hill right off the bat. Um, and then we're gonna get into the tailwind, which is just gonna be tough. As people have seen, the tailwinds there's not a lot of draft. We'll see what the weather looks like. If it is 6 or 8 miles an hour, the tailwind won't be a huge factor into holding those drafts, and people should be able to sit in the wheels, and the group should be fairly big. If that wind does pick up to the 20 miles an hour, which it could change in 5 days, um, it's going to hurt people in this tailwind and then rip groups apart in the crosswind when we go across this north side of the course. Um, and it's going to shrink groups down very quickly, and try to stay with somebody if you're a little bit further back. And in the front of the race, there's going to be breaks that go from this, as we saw breaks of 3 to 5 go in the crosswinds at Rock Ridge or Solstice. Um, yeah. And then we turn and start heading south. This is the biggest climb. This graph doesn't do a great justice of it, but I've ridden up here, and this is it's basically uphill for 9 miles. There's bumps in this first section. It's not super hilly, but you feel it in the uphill, especially for a headwind. This might be 9 mile, like this might be an hour-long section at 9 miles. 9 miles an hour, just upwind, uphill headwind um, pushing. So just be
What's the
prepared
what's
to
the
slip.
uh what's the gradient on that for the like what's the average grade?
So this is point 0.8 for the whole 9 miles. You get to the steep section, which is the end, is 2.4% for a mile and a half.
Oh, dude.
So
And what is that? Like mile 15 or something?
starts mile 19, we turn into that headwind-ish.
Oh, dude. Well, yeah, that's that'll be crazy.
Yeah, gonna be a good launching pad for the front of the race. It's just everybody's gonna hurt in that section, and if you can hurt less than the person behind, uh, you will draw people. I guess if there's a headwind, it might neutralize it a little bit. Nobody want to pull, nobody want to go into the headwind. Um,
Well, I think so with the wind, I guess I totally I haven't had a chance to really like dig into the course a ton, but now that we're kind of talking through this, and the wind is going to be a little bit more mild, I mean, I feel like that's like absolutely a defining feature of the course, and probably will separate the group, especially if it is like a slight headwind a little bit. I mean, that always kind of takes the wind out of people's sails. But I think something to note, regardless of what group you're in, is the moments like that, especially on paper and kind of talking through it right now. Like we all know that that's going to be a really tough section, and just like at solstice and those crosswind sections, how it got really tough and started to make selections. I feel like especially early in the race, and this will be fairly early in the race, being in that first third, it's easy to kind of get intimidated and be like, oh man, like I'm, like should I try to hold this wheel or should I, conserve? And depending on what your goals are, I feel like, like I mean, those moments, in my opinion, if you're wanting to stay with, the lead group or whatever group you're in, like, there's going to be moments potentially on like a climb like that where you're really hurting and you just have to kind of hope that everybody else around you is hurting as well. And you maybe dig a little bit deep and then, wait for maybe a descent or, for the group to kind of like for that selection to be made to then recover. And I feel like at solstice, like it was early enough in the race where potentially, the fear would have been like, oh man, should I like, hold back, maybe conserve a little bit. But like once we hit the tailwind, it was like, oh man, like now all we have to do is just kind of ride, tempo and we'll start to gain momentum just because of our like coordinated effort versus it being a little bit more surgy in the group. So something to keep in mind, if you're wanting to kind of stay with the front end.
yeah, and then you can be at a spot to spend energy because you will recover it. I totally agree, Michael. It's something I'm going to note for myself. Um, yeah, and then I going through Google Maps of this road. It looks okay. It's really hard. I've gone through the whole map this far out, trying to figure it out. This to see what's MMR and what's not. This road looks fairly good, like a gravel road. And then we start to get into these MMR roads further down. You can see the big squiggles. That's a pretty good sign of an MMR road. So we get out of there. There's some flat plateau at the top, which is absolutely stunning. These plateaus in the Flint Hills. Give yourself a second to look around. I forget a lot of the time in the racing. I don't think I looked around in Solstice once. Um, but these are some of the best views you get in the Flint Hills. Being that high up and looking around and seeing all the scenery. Um, but yeah, then we get into some of these deeper MMR roads. To explain the MMR roads in the Flint Hills, they're usually pretty rocky and uh, usually rutted. So there's tire tracks where a car went through and then the mud's pushed up to the side, so you get a track in the middle. Or the mud's pushed up to the side, so then you get the high points on the side, and you kind of get picked one or the other, and that edge is too steep to ride up or down. So be careful on that. A lot of times the tire track moves and the car turned, and now that middle section moves, and it can be tricky holding a foot wide line of that tire track. So just be careful, especially if you're drafting, you're in groups. Um, you see that very commonly out there. I try to give a little bit more of a gap, more of a space in front of me, and it's losing a little bit of that draft. But just to make sure I don't fall over and I'm safe being efficient out there and efficient. Um, but yeah, we will get through this plateau here. I didn't mention the first aid station. The first aid station is at mile 10. It's out there. Give it a think if you want to go out there, go to it. The weather's going to be hot, but this is 10 miles in. I know the further you up in the race, the less likely people are to stop here, and groups are going to struggle. We are going to get to this mile 10 very quickly with all the tailwind, if the wind stays the direction it is, even if it's mild. We get to the next aid station at mile 32 and a half. This is a good one to consider going to. It's just around halfway in the course. It's 75 miles, so halfway is 37 miles. This is just before it. I don't know. Do you think the front group will stop at all, Michael? Did you guys stop in Solstice?
Yeah, we stopped it. My plan is to stop or take a musette at the second or the 45 or I'm sorry, 48.
So, okay, asking about that. So, based on the website, it says that you can't have anybody at the sag points. Is that true? So, can you not have a musette or somebody waiting for you?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
I didn't
Bobby doesn't allow support on his rides.
Oh, dang. Okay, well, glad we're doing this meeting.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Shoot.
yeah, because I was gonna have my wife meet me again because it worked out so well in Solstice. But in the rules, you can see like the athlete guide, it says that specifically you can't have, yeah, it's right there, that paragraph. They can't be at the depots.
Yeah.
No on the course or at the depots. It's like the fourth line down or something like that.
Holy smokes. All right, well, we'll be pack muling it, boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's shitty. And we start an hour later, so it's gonna be 8 a.m. when we start, so it's gonna
Oh,
be even hotter.
It's
oh,
2 hours
dude,
later. We
that.
started at 6.
I'm sorry, I'm giving all the bad news tonight.
Oh no, hey, that's dude, this is literally like we were talking about oh man, like the yeah, that changes everything.
So I was
What I'll probably
asking what
go
your
ahead.
opinion of it was. Keep going.
So with that in mind, I'll probably do three like high concentration bottles. I'll have one in my back jersey pocket, and yeah, it's actually
Do you just dump that bottle after you've drank it?
I won't if there's not well, unless depending on like what the depots look like. If there's like a ton of staff there and they look like they can, I mean, I hate like dumping a bottle, but if not, I would just put it in my back center jersey pocket. But yeah, I just do three high concentration bottles and call it good, and then a hydration pack.
I froze my hydration pack the during solstice and it worked out really well. By the time I got to it, it was already cool. It was already water. So
Stayed
I
water
start,
for. I've been considering that idea. Or
yeah,
sorry, stayed ice. Sorry.
yeah, it worked out really well.
Do you know how long you had ice for approximately? 2 hours, an hour?
It was about an hour and a half. I still had ice in it when I went through the first sag. I was like a little bit after the sag, between the first, it was still cold after the first sag.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I filled it completely with ice and then, filled it up with water in between the ice cubes and the first part of my swig would be warm. That was the water in the tube. But then I would taste the really cold water that came out of the pack.
Yeah, so I didn't put ice in it. I put the whole thing in the freezer, and then luckily at solstice I swapped out for another ice pack, like another frozen pack at the second sag.
That's a good idea.
So I was hoping to do that again, like just stop once and just swap out my bladders, but we read that stupid piece of note.
It's too, especially on a hot weather one like this. Flint Hills, I get it. you can kind of survive in April. It's not that hot. It's not too bad. Just make it work. But it's going to be 91 degrees out there, is the
Yeah, it's
high
gonna
for
be
the
hot.
day. So it's going to be very hot. So it shouldn't be 91 when we're riding, but it makes it difficult. In group two of Solstice, we did stop at one aid station. Some of us stopped at two. Give Trevor some crap, but um, we stopped
I was
at
gonna
one and
die.
filled
I
some
had to.
bottles. Um, so I don't know if the lead group and you can convince your group to stop. I think there will be lots of people planning on stopping. I went through 5 bottles in 3.5 hours, which usually I'm on a bottle an hour, so I expected 3.5 bottles. Um, so
Man, I don't know. I don't know, Jackson. I think we have to plan for I think we have to plan for a no stop. Just the way that it like I don't know. I'm gonna plan for no stop and like I would love it, dude. I think it's crazy. I wish that the groups still stopped, but I think there'll be somebody who wants to roll through and it just takes that one person rolling through as far as sticking with the lead group.
Is
and
that
maybe
second aid station on a actual road?
I don't know where this is. This is at somebody's house. This one, or sorry, this is the
Yeah,
third.
yeah. Oh, that's what I meant. That's the second real aid station. I don't count 10, mile 10.
So officially, this is the third, but I assume it's this person's house, whoever owns it. It should be on the road here. I don't see the route going in here doing any kind of cyclocross-esque thing in the grass, so it should be out on the road, easily accessible.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's up in that corner there. It looks like something up in his land. Like if you go just south of your cursor. Yeah, I'm guessing it's like I don't know, somewhere in there. But
Yeah, uh,
is that
I
pink
figured they
gravel? Yeah,
they
they should have pink gravel should have like a big tent and stuff like that.
yeah. Bobby does a really good job of setting up races on everyone I've done. I expect these to have multiple tents, cold water. He mentions in the athlete guide that they will have nutrition in there. I can't find it right now. Um, but he will have scratch nutrition at the aid stations um, if you do stop or plan on that for your strategy of the day. Um, Yeah, we get through this plateau. This is once we get up that climb, we're gonna go into a plateau and then we're gonna start getting to the MMR roads. These roads are going to be chunky and difficult. Um, and there's a lot of them. It's going to be MMR roads through the middle of the course. This whole middle, all south of here, is a lot of MMR. As we cruise through here, we get more and more into the deep MMR roads. Be careful on these tight corners. They can be loose. I don't know if that's up. That looks like it's uphill, but um, you will come along these as you do. Um, then we will roll into this aid station, a mile of road before it, this aid station, and then we get to the biggest direct climb of the day. Trying to isolate it, 1.7 miles, 287 feet, 3%. Um, it's going to be a painful climb to do. I could probably make it steeper. Um, and the big piece with this climb is you come out of the aid station, you go right up the climb, and then this south road, very far south, is Little Egypt. So it's up over the climb. The climb ends at mile, I'll call it 50. And then we get into Little Egypt, which is, I have in my notes here. Little Egypt is 2.5 miles long. Has most people have heard of Little Egypt? I don't know if everybody's ridden Little Egypt. I got the great.
Is it the same direction as they did in Unbound?
It's the opposite direction as Unbound. Unbound
Oh
went
God,
east
dude.
to west. We're going west to east.
Oh, dude, I feel like that descent is going to be a little crazy.
So, uh, Little Egypt, to explain it to everybody, there's a little dip at the beginning. So I call it 3 climbs. Really, it's 2. A little dip that's very small. Then you get into a big one. This first one is a lot smaller. The grades are shallower. It shouldn't be anything hectic, but going across the road, this is going to be grass all in the middle. So you pick your line early. You can kind of see here. You pick one side or the other, and you won't be able to get over to the other side. So if you're with people, you're with a group, try to look as far up as you can, pick a side, and go as fast as you can down, and then as fast as you can up if that's your goal. It gets steeper. The climb is steeper than the descent. So the descent actually shouldn't be too bad on this first one. The climb's going to be a little bit punch up. And then there's a plateau that's half a mile long. That's you can flip both sides. If you're with a group and you end up being further back on that group, you can catch back up. My goal will be to get to the front of that group. My goal is to work with my group here and then motor and get to the front of that group for this next descent. The second descent, major descent into it, is the rockiest, steepest part of all of Little Egypt. If you watch, Pace McKelvin has a great video on Little Egypt, and the road behind him is this descent here. They go up it at Unbound, and he describes going up it. We're going down it. It's very rocky, very loose. There's no way to change lines, and it's big boulder rocks that have been pushed into the ground. So be careful, and you want to see what's a long ways in front of you. So either let the wheel go, if you're not in first, or on this plateau, try to get to the front of the group. It's going to be a big difference. And then you kick right up into a very steep climb. It looks like this climb has 2 bumps into it. Both of them are pretty strong and big bumps that will hurt. It will, if you're in a group that's competitive, it will separate the group. But it's not the worst thing I've ever ridden. It's still another MMR road. Like, yeah. Do you have ideas, Michael?
Have you ridden it this direction before, Jackson? Sorry if I missed that.
I have not ridden it this direction. I rode it in Unbound 3 weeks ago, the opposite direction. And I did mentally note that I would be riding it backwards while I was riding it the whole time. I was doing recon mentally.
Yeah, man, that descent just seems like it's going to be kind of crazy. But I mean, yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
everything you said. I think just leaving gaps in front of you and kind of anticipating, I think it's good. I would maybe like, I mean, obviously at the beginning of the race, either just take strong mental note or like sometimes, what I'll do is take like a piece of paper, write down some of these like, kind of marquee moments in the race, and then just like put packing tape on like my stem, just so it's kind of a reminder of like, okay, like know that, whatever this mile marker is, 53, like, that's going to be a little bit crazy. And then, um, even like the several miles leading up to that, sometimes, the group can start to like, kind of try to force a selection prior to that. And, so I feel like that may be something to look out for. But like, I mean, for me personally, I mean, I'll be looking to be in the front just because you want to be one of the first wheels in whatever group that you're in to go down some of these things to avoid, either crashing or flatting.
Climb before it coming out of that aid station could be selective if people don't want to go into Little Egypt with a bigger group that you're in. So there may be efforts on that climb to get into Little Egypt.
How
It's
how long is how long is that climb from start to finish?
it's 1.6 miles at 3%, 1.7
Oh,
miles at
dude.
3.2. So you come out of that aid station, it's going to be full gas. If you want to go solo, there could be an opportunity to go solo because it's mostly tailwind home after that.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Or you might come out with a group of 3 and you can finish the race with that group from that move.
So Jackson, just to be clear, so Little Egypt is down at the bottom there where your pointer is, and then
Yep.
and then we head north to go home from there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It's just north home. Hopefully that stays tailwind and it should be just ripping quick home. These roads were part of Unbound. They are pretty good gravel once you get out of there. Nothing's MMR, at least for the first little bit. And then I don't know exactly up here. It looks like a little bit of MMR. and maybe actually a road section. They did note there is one neutral water only stop as well at mile, give me a mile here, mile 65, as you can see in the bottom right corner. So if you are dying, 10 miles to go, there is water, push to get there. Take a little break, drink some extra water, some cold stuff, and then push the last 10 miles. And then I've noted here, 72 to 73 is an MMR road. So there is one last MMR road finishing the day, and it looked fairly chunky.
What mile marker did you say? Sorry, Jackson.
I'll pull up this whole Excel sheet. So 72 to 73, finishing the day, is MMR. I can send this out in the chat if people are interested. This is me zooming in as close as I can get and scrolling through for 30 minutes on all of them and documenting it's gravel from here to here. There's a creek crossing here. It's gravel. It flips to road, gravel. It looks like it's MMR for here. It's hard to tell on Google Mapsing it, so this isn't me driving it. This isn't 100% accurate, but I can send this out to the chat if people
Yeah, that'd be
want,
helpful.
just to have it and give an idea of where that is. I would note Little Egypt and note the aid stations for us.
Dude, this is gonna be a fun route. Little Egypt is like a sweet road.
It's very fun. It's very cool. If you enjoyed that descent that they were worried about at Solstice, you're going to love Little Egypt. It gets rowdy in there, but it's not mountain biking by any means. It's still gravel.
Yeah, the only descent at Solstice, and I can't remember exactly where it was. I mean, seemed like it was somewhere within the last 15 or 20 miles where we had those drainage ruts that crossed the path, and a couple of them were close together, and I had trouble bunny hopping between them. I did, I didn't, I didn't end real well on the last one.
Did you crash or fall at all?
No, but
Okay,
I loosened my headset.
Yeah, make sure to tighten that down for your next ride.
It's in the shop, man.
Perfect. Yeah, and then we head into the finale. There's a little bit of headwind, with a road sprint finish into headwind corner finish. If it does come down to a sprint, the competition in this race, I don't know if I'm going to get kicked off actually in 1 minute. This meeting might end in a minute because I don't have Zoom Premium, but the competition, there's going to be more people there than Solstice. There's going to be more fast people there than Solstice. I've talked to a variety of people from the Lawrence area who all want to go. I assume Kansas City people are going to go. So there should be hopefully more groups to work with, and people are knowledgeable about how to work with groups, so that those are the faster groups, which should help everybody keep moving forward with what they're doing.
Who from Lawrence, Jackson?
Jack Tell's coming out, Evan Hall, nobody, Logan Swenson might come, and Domestique for Jacob. If he does sign up, I'll talk to you more about that. But he'll just be there to make sure that Jacob gets pulled back to the groups and what Solstice doesn't happen, where he just got attacked and counterattacked. I don't know anybody else off the top of my head. I don't believe Tyler or Jason Chase are coming to this one. I think they both discussed the idea. Do you know, Michael?